Армысыздар, салмақты сұхбаттың бүгінгі қонағы нигериялық ақын, ағылшын тілі мұғалімі Исиака Абубакар Убажи Изи.
Hello, Mr. Исиака. How are you?
Yeah, I think it's better now. I can hear you a bit fine now. I'm good, and you?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you. Hello,
great.
hello everyone. Welcome to our online meeting. I am Қуаныш Жұмабекұлы. I am pleased to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Исиака Абубакар Убажи Изи. He is from Nigeria. He is a poet, English teacher, and a book reviewer. Mr. Исиака, you know that Nigeria is located on the western coast of Africa. It has a diverse geography with climates ranging from arid to humid equatorial. Nigeria's most diverse feature is its people, right? While English is the official language, there are over 500 indigenous languages in Nigeria. Could you tell about Nigeria and how many languages do you speak?
Okay, as you have said, Nigeria is located in on the west coast of Africa. It's a very large country with over 200 million people, and it is still growing. And you know, like you mentioned, one unique feature of Nigeria is that it's a multilingual and multi-ethnic society with lots of people from various cultural backgrounds. And we are held together by that name called Nigeria, and years of mutual interaction and trading, intermarriages, and other socio-economic affairs. So the people are in one way connected to the other, despite their differences in terms of language, ethnic background, and cultural differences. But they've always been together for millions of a number of years now. About say 100 or 200 years they've been having interaction. So, and the country was gained their independence from Britain after some years of colonization. The name Nigeria was given by a British lady who was then a what do I call it, a consort or a fiancé to Sir Frederick Lodgard. Frederick Lodgard was the first Governor General of Nigeria. The lady's name is Lady Flora Shaw. So she was the one who gave the name Niger area based on the river Niger. From Niger area, you have Nigeria. So, and me, I speak 4 languages out of the 500. English. If we are counting English aside, I speak 3 languages. I speak Igala, which is my own mother tongue, and I speak Yoruba. I speak Pidgin and English. That's what makes it 4. But I have basic knowledge of the major languages of Nigeria, because we have 3 major languages. We have Hausa, Igbo language, and Yoruba language. And these 3 major languages, there is virtually no way you would be born in Nigeria and would not be able to speak at least one of these 3 major languages. So we find ourselves, you find yourself as a Nigerian being able to speak at least one of these 3 major languages, because they occupy a large geographical area. The speakers of the language occupy a large geographical area in Nigeria as it is. So I believe I have answered your question there.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Исиака, there are many interesting facts about Nigeria. For example, oil is one of the biggest exports of the country. Nigeria is divided into 36 states. What are the best things about your country? What is your country famous for?
Nigeria has some major natural resources or minerals that are available. Apart from oil, you can find gold in Nigeria. You can find limestone, which is used to make cement. You can find there are lots and lots of mineral resources in Nigeria, and it has attracted even steel, because we have a steel company, Ajakuta Steel Company in Lokoja, which was started by Russians. The Russians came and built the factory, but it's not functional today. But we are hoping to start it up again. So from this, and we have in terms of greenery, the vegetation, the flora and fauna, we have various kind of unique animals which you cannot find anywhere else in the world. We've got also trees and a lot of, in terms of vegetation, we have that because it's a very green country. We also have the savannah part, which is a bit dry, but there also you can find a lot of farm work going on. You have rice being planted in those areas. You have watermelon, some fruits and vegetables that they grow very well here. They thrive very well in Nigeria. So apart from oil, I think agriculture is also a mainstay of the country. In the US, we have the largest population of doctors. So when it comes to being intellectuals, we have a lot of Nigerian intellectuals we are very good in academics, and we thrive so well in several countries outside the shores of Nigeria. We do have a saying in Nigeria that anywhere you go in the world and you cannot find a Nigerian there, then it means the place is not safe for you to stay. So it means that Nigerians have been able to spread themselves across the world, and we have a competitive spirit. When you are born in a family, in a polygamous family, which is a norm in Nigeria, and you have to compete against several forces apart from your own brothers. It's in my culture, when you go home with your report sheet from school, and your father asks you what's your result, and you tell him that you came second or third, the question he will ask you is, the person that came first or second or best, does the person have two heads? Does the person have two brains? So when you know that automatically this kind of question will be asked at home, you struggle all the time to become the best at everything you do. So that has been the motivation for most Nigerians. That's why whenever we find ourselves, we always try to be at top and also be a leader. So when it comes to the world of sport, I think mostly when I travel out of my country, I meet people internationally and I tell them I'm from Nigeria, the first thing they mention is Kano Anko, JJ Okocha. These are famous footballers that have played for Nigeria, and these people know them because at the time we were in this world of sport in Africa. Then currently, I think we are selling ourselves based on our music, and also Nigerian music is very popular in the world. We talk of artists like Davido and Wizkid, Burna Boy, and etc. So our music is giving us a lot of popularity. And apart from music, when it comes to the world of the movies, I think Nollywood is number 3 after Hollywood and Bollywood. So we are also making waves in terms of movie making. And when you talk about sports, Nigerians are there. If you know very well the current heavyweight champion in boxing, Anthony Joshua, I believe you've heard of him before. Have you heard of Anthony Joshua? Anthony Joshua is a Nigerian. He's a Nigerian British boxer. So he's from Nigeria. And when you talk about the UFC fighter, the lightweight and middleweight, Kamal Umaru, and also Israel Adesanya, these are Nigerians too. So you can see that basically we are everywhere making, and these are the heavyweight champions, currently heavyweight champion, Anthony Joshua, Kamaru Usman, and Israel Adesanya. So, and when it comes to the intellectual aspect, you cannot, Nigerians cannot be shortchanged. The first Nobel Prize winner in Africa is actually from Nigeria. That's Professor Wole Soyinka. He won the Nobel Prize, the Nobel Prize in 1986 for drama and for his dramatic work. He's a dramatist and also a poet and a novelist. So, and we've had the likes of Chinua Achebe, who wrote Things Fall Apart, a book which has become very popular in the world and has been translated into more than 60 different languages, you know, so including German language and Portuguese, I think. So you can see that when it comes to the intellectual aspect, we are not lagging behind as well. And you know, we have a thing for survivor, for being a survivor, for being survivors. We are not the type that easily give up or die easily. You know, at the time when the Ebola disease was in Africa and it was spreading, everyone had lost hope, and they felt that yes, if the disease should spread into Nigeria, something dangerous was going to happen, that many people were going to die. And surprisingly, when the disease came to Nigeria, our medical team were able to come together and find a cure for the Ebola virus. So these has put us on the world map, that we are people that when confronted with adversity, we fight back, and we fight dangerously back. So we don't give up easily, and we don't wait for people to tell us what to do. When it comes to the time to take action, we take action. That is us as Nigerian. So our population is an advantage because when you have too many people, we do have a saying in the culture of the Nigerian people, that when you in a compound of a great man, you will have many people there, because the great man in Nigeria is a man with many wives and children. So when you have many people in that compound, you have people of different abilities and characteristics. So each person would behave in an individual way, and that defines us as Nigeria. We are very unique, and each culture or each set of people exhibits different traits that makes us stay stable in any aspect of life we find ourselves at all. Our doctors are also in the UK working. When it comes to the field of literature, Nigerians are also dominating, because currently we have the likes of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who is the writer and a Nigerian US based writer, and also a feminist. We've got the likes of New York Shidari, Chinua Achebe, Christopher Kibo, many of them like that. And when it comes to sports, we were dominating sport at the time. In fact, we are known as the giants of Africa. So that is what I can tell you about Nigeria.
Okay. Mr. Исиака,
Yes,
you're an English language teacher.
Of course
Why did you choose this profession?
I don't know, but let me say something about that question. You see, I did not actually choose English. I like to say that English chose me, rather, because I found out from an early age that I had a passion for language. I had a passion for listening to people and interpreting what I hear. I was born into a family of Groids. My grandfather and my father were storytellers. So in the evening, I used to sit close to my father with my younger brothers, and he would tell us stories. So from there, I developed a keen interest in telling stories, something which has followed me up till then. And, you know, as I continued to grow up, I found out that whenever I get out with my friends, so they want me to tell them stories because they like the way I tell stories. So it became a challenge. At a point, I had to read stories so that I have something to tell them the next evening. And this was a continual process that was happening every evening. So I gather my friends, I tell them stories, they listen to the stories I told them. And somehow, even those that were quite older than me began to rely on me later much in life. They will come to me and ask for advice, and I will tell them, oh, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. And these are things which I have personally not experienced. Maybe I might have read about them in books, but I may not have experienced them. And I'm able to provide solutions to their problem. I'm able to advise them and say, oh, see, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do. If you do it like this, you are going to get this result. And most of them follow my advice, and it turns out well for them. So at that point, I became a sort of a leader, a leader amongst my friends, because they look up to me as somebody who can advise them, despite the fact that we are the same age or that they were even older than I was. As I grew up in life, I discovered my talent at a very of writing poetry at a very young age. So while I was still in secondary school, and at a point in time, my poetry was published on a major newspaper, and that gave me the kind of acclaim that I wanted. So at that moment in time, I was so proud of my achievement, even though it was minute, that at least what I have written, and it was actually my first poem ever, but it was published on a major national newspaper. So it was the choice was there already. It was as if the path was set for me, and I just couldn't deny it. So when I got into university, there was no, I didn't have any other option. I just had to study English language. And even as I was studying English language, I kept telling myself, you cannot become a teacher. You know that. You have to become something else. I was targeting a career in journalism, or maybe just writing and relaxing. I wasn't looking at teaching at all. But I found out that throughout my period in school, my friends would come to me for assistance to explain courses that were difficult for them. And I would sit them down, explain it to them, and they found it they found it easier to understand the course the way I explained it than even what the teacher would say. So from there, they began telling me, my friend, you have to become a teacher. Why do you say you don't want to become a teacher? How can you explain this? The teacher explained this, I did not understand, but you explained it and I understood. So you have to become a teacher. So I told them, no way, I wasn't going to become a teacher. But you know, life has a way of playing funny tricks on people, and you decide on one way and life chooses another way for you. So somehow I found myself being pushed towards teaching, and I did not have an option. I just had to embrace what came forward. So basically, I still tell people that teaching chose me. I tried my best to run away from teaching, but I just could not do that because everything I do was towards teaching. And you see, there is nothing I enjoy more than talking to people, than impacting knowledge. As we are talking now, I enjoy doing this sort of thing better than just staying alone. So when I'm with people and I'm impacting knowledge, those moments are my happiest. So teaching gives me the kind of joy that I derive from talking to people. So that's why I think I did not have an option. I just had to embrace teaching at the end of the day. So here we are. Several years after, I am still teaching.
Okay, good answer. You are also a short story writer, copy editor, book reviewer, literary critic, poet, essayist, news editor, and a TV presenter. You know that book reviews save readers time, prepare them for what they will find, and offer them a greater chance of connecting with a particular book even before they read the first page. For an author, book reviews can open doors to new and bigger audiences. Why book reviews are important to authors and readers? What is your opinion about it?
Yeah, you know, book reviews are important. A professor of mine, Professor Nicholas Akwaya, he said that the role of criticism in literature, that criticism is important to literature because without criticism, literature will atrophy. That means it will die a natural death. So to keep literature alive, we have to keep critics functioning. So I do believe that book reviews are a form of criticism. They look at the aspects, the good and bad aspect of the work, and try to assess the work based on the standard established norms or regulations that are meant that you can subject a work to. What are the elements that you're looking out for? If this is a poem, why is it a poem? Why is it a good poem or why is it a bad poem? So, and at the end of the day, readers also benefit from it because by book reviews, they know which book to select or which book to read. And, you know, as a reviewer, I try as much as possible to say the truth about a book. I don't sugarcoat words. And that's why I don't receive payment for book reviews. I do it based on what I feel. If I am to read your book and your book is bad, I will tell you point blank that the book is bad. And if it is good, I will tell you also that the book is good. So you can't cajole me into writing praising what you've written if it is not good. I will quickly tell you straight away that this is not what it should be. So in a way, it helps to keep literature alive. It helps people to know the content of the book they are going to approach, and also prepare them for what they are to expect in the book. A reviewer cannot be right at all times, but most often it will guide the reader in knowing what to do, and also it will make the writer know where his failings are or his or shortcomings are. So the writer will know where to improve next time when he needs to read the book or write another book. So in a way, it's also helping writers to improve on themselves, because when you write a book and I'm able to tell that this is where the book failed, or this is the high point of the book, then you know how to build your strength whenever you're writing another book. So in a way, the role of a reviewer cannot be underestimated in writing, because we help to keep the books alive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mr. Исиака, a good poem helps to change the shape of the universe, helps to extend everyone's knowledge of himself and the world around him. Could you recite one of your own poems to our listeners?
Okay, you want me to recite a poem of mine, right?
Yeah.
All right, okay. The poem I'm going to recite is titled the poem I Shall Never Write. It's a love poem, and I'm going to recite it for you. So, the poem I Shall Never Write. A terrible itch disturbs my fingers. My soul is set again for another spontaneous volcanic eruption of words. There is a poem brewing in my heart. It is a poem that defies form. It cannot be captured with words. Yet it is there, for I can see it with my mind eyes. Inipi my muse, do grant me the words to say that which my heart knows, for I fear this is a poem I shall never write. The poem is about you, dear one. The best words of poetry are too many to capture your face. Shall I compare your eyes to the moon, or your lips to the hibiscus? Can your translucent hair compare with sun rays, or the glitters of your teeth to that of stars? No, these things are too base and too far above you. I cannot immortalize you in a base form. This is a surety. I shall never write this poem. What poem can tell of your voice? Orpheus would be jealous to hear you speak, and Apollo would die should you sing. Your cold skin betters that of the black cobra, and your touch offers more tenderness than that of a mother upon a child. What healing fingers? Touch me and let me be another Lazarus. No anklet could have blended so well to the body of an Arabian princess. The way royal beads adorn your hair, hands, and legs. If language fails to describe you, what then can? There is a poem ringing in my heart like a tintinabulin. It's a poem about my dear one. Here is the paper. Here is the pen. My hand swings like a pendulum, but no words would appear. I am afraid. This is a poem I shall never write.
Okay, great. Could you tell us one of the African stories?
Okay, an African story. Which one should I tell you now? There are several African stories because, you know, African stories are not just there for entertainment. It's a part of a cultural process. In fact, I would say that it's a way of educating the young people of Africa, because when you grow up, the ideas of your culture, your norms, the tradition, what is forbidden and what is allowed, are passed to you through stories, riddles, and proverbs, which are part of the African cosmology. So stories are very, very important. And like I told you, I basically grew up on storytelling because my father and grandfather would sit me down in the evenings and tell me stories. So, and you know, at the point when I grew up, and that was what pushed me into storytelling even now. Because when I grew up, I discovered that this tradition is not being maintained by modern fathers because they are too busy at work to have time for their children. So I decided to, I basically was forgetting most of these stories. So I decided to put them on record and make videos of them and put on YouTube so that the young ones can watch and learn about this and learn about something from it. So that was why I started the storytelling tradition on my YouTube page. So the story I'm about to tell you is about the tortoise and the lion. The tortoise features prominently in African stories because it is a trickster animal of African stories. And the tortoise, once upon a time, right, the lion, who is the king of the animals, or the king of the jungle, as we do say in English, announced that he was very ill and he would not be able to come out of his den. So, due to his illness, he called that at least an animal should visit him. One of the animals should visit him at least once in a day. To visit him. And all the animals agreed that they would visit him at least once in a day. So all the animals would visit his den. Each day they would go to his den. And the animals were appointed one after the other. So the rabbit went and never came back. Other animals also went to his den like that. They never returned. But when it was the turn of the tortoise was prepared himself and decided to go visit the sick king to pay homage. So when he got outside the den, he greeted, "Oh, Mr. Lion, how are you?" The lion answered, "I'm very sick. Have you come to visit me?" He said, "Yes, I have come to visit you." But why are you standing outside?" asked the lion. "You should come inside. Let us talk like friends that we are." Tortoise answered, "I would have loved to come inside to see you, of course. But there is something I see here which stops me from coming inside." Then the lion asked from his den, "And what could that be?" The tortoise replied, "I see footsteps walking into your den. These footsteps are all directed towards your den. None of them is actually coming out of your den." Then the lion said, "Oh, never mind that. You can still come." The tortoise said, "No, I have just come to ask for your welfare. And since I have heard your voice, I would like to conclude that you are doing fine. So I shall like to take my leave now." So that was how the tortoise left the den and never returned back. So in a way, the story talks about wiseness, about being wise. You know, other animals went in without taking precautions. But when the tortoise went there, he looked around and saw the footsteps of the other animals going in. He did not see anyone returning outside. So he concluded that something strange was happening in the den. So he escaped death by being wise. So that is the story.
Okay, good. Who is a famous poet in Africa? Please tell us about him or her.
When you talk about poets, there are several poets that are famous in Africa. You know, Africa is about 54 countries. I believe it has increased because there are some splinter countries which are some of them are yet to be recognized and some have already been recognized. So you know, when you have about 54 countries on a continent, you are going to have diverse people who have been prominent in their lifetime, or who are still alive and making waves. So when you talk about important poets in Africa, we usually start, if we are going to look at West Africa, we are going to look at West Africa. We'll begin with the likes of Wole Soyinka. Chinua Achebe was also a poet, but not a prominent one. Christopher Kigo was a very famous poet, and because of he was not the poet, he was not the kind of recluse poet who wrote and was content with writing. He followed his writing up with action. So, and he is respected and became very famous for that. There was Leopard Sedar Senghor of from Senegal, who was one of the proponents of negritude movement. It's an ideology based on upholding the black race and promoting the black culture and the black skin at a time where people became shy of their skin, or people did not no longer thought themselves as being inferior to the white race based on the skin coloration or pigmentation. So you have Leopard Sedar Senghor. In South Africa, you've got the likes of Masisi Kunene, Oswald Mubesheli. You have Jack Mapanje of Malawi. So these are famous. They are all famous poets in their own right. And to say that one of them is the best, it would be like maligning the other. So I usually run away from that argument of who is the best. I like to see each person for their own merit. So if I'm going to talk about Christopher Kigbo is a Nigerian poet. He wrote The Path of Thunder and some other poetry anthology. Unfortunately, he died very young because he participated in the Nigerian Biafra Civil War of 1963 to 1967. He was a poet. He had no business being a soldier. But, you know, he was the kind of person that matched his words with action. And when he saw that the war was becoming terrible and people were dying, he threw away his pen, literally, and took on the camouflage uniform and became a soldier. So when he fought in the war, he was killed in the war. But even before this war happened, the remarkable thing about Christopher Kigbo was that he predicted that this war was going to happen in his poetry, and it really did happen. So he's respected as one of the finest African poets ever emerged. But the thing is that he died at a very young age. And you know, when he was growing into becoming a full-fledged poet, people actually saw his talent as being one of the greatest. At a point in time, he was awarded the best Black African poet, and that was in Dakar, in Senegal. And he got the award and looked at it and said, "There is no such thing as a Black poet. There are only poets." So he returned the award and refused to take it. So he lived this remarkably, what some people may call a bit eccentric lifestyle, but he was well respected for that, for his works. So you mentioned the likes of Wole Soyinka as well. Wole Soyinka has been on the scene for quite a while and has been pushing for the respect of African works and poetry. So in terms of poetry, Wole Soyinka has been there. He edited that's Poems of Black Africa, a collection of poetry. And like I mentioned before, he was the first African Nobel Prize winner. He won the award in 1986. After him, since then, the likes of Naguib Mahfouz of Egypt have taken the have also been awarded, but he was the first. And that is quite remarkable. So when it comes to talking about poetry, you easily talk about him. Then there was Leopard Sedar Senghor, who promoted African blackness, the African race through his poems like I will pronounce your name, Nayet, and etc. like that. So he was also a prominent African poet. So there have been many you can mention. Even there are modern ones like Niyo Shindare. We have a famous officer who are modern names in poetry, and they have been on the scene for quite a while now. And there are still very young emerging ones that have not made popularity as these ones, but they are quite remarkable. I've met them on Facebook, online, and they are doing quite well for themselves. They've made a name for themselves, or they've carved a niche in the poetry arena. So that is that for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. What are your plans for the future, professionally and personally?
What?
I'm asking, what are your plans for the future, professionally and personally?
Personally, I'm looking forward to publishing my own works, not just my reviews. I've written quite a number of stories, which I've been looking for. I've been trying to see how I can get that published. A collection of poetry. You know, now currently I work for an editor. I have too many things I'm doing at the same time, and I think that's a problem. But in a way, it has not slowed me down. Rather, it has made me better than I expected, because being able to touch all aspects of language is a rare privilege that people pray for that, and they don't get the opportunity. Because when it comes to being a presenter, I do that very well, and that is the speaking aspect of language. When it comes to writing, I do that also very well. I have written book reviews. When it comes to creativity, you know, acting, I'm into anything that has to do with language. Journalism, I edit for newspaper companies. I edit for literary magazines. You know, I work I'm one of the editor of Libretto magazine. I work as a book reviewer. So basically, every aspect of language I have had the opportunity to explore, and I'm still interested in exploring more. So I'm looking my future plans. Probably I would like to continue teaching, and also to further my career until I become a professor, probably officially. Because right now I think I'm moving towards that direction, but let's see how things work out. And also I'll keep trying to improve myself. I don't believe that you can get to a stage whereby you're satisfied. Knowledge is like water. Once you drink, you thirst for more, so you keep drinking and you never get satisfied. So that is the way it is for me, and I'm not stopping right now. I'm still very healthy, young, and strong. So I see myself furthering my career as a teacher, a journalist, a writer, a book reviewer. Everything that has to do with language, I want to involve myself. So, and that is what I'm doing right now. And also having my own books as a kind of acclaim to what I've done in the past.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Mr. Исиака, our time is up for today. Thank you very much for making time for us. If you have anything to say to our listeners, please go ahead.
Well, we started by discussing Nigeria, and as a Nigerian, I see myself as an ambassador of my country. So, for those of you who are yet to hear about Nigeria, here is a ambassador of Nigeria, and also one who is encouraging you to find time in your free time or holiday period to visit the country and see for yourself some of these things that we've mentioned. We've got food, relaxation center, various types of food delicacies that I'm sure that you are going to like so much. And I can also assure you that once you visit once, you can never, you never have regret. You always live with that memory to the day you die. So I would want you to find time to learn about Nigeria. You can on YouTube, on the internet, know about the culture of the country, the people, and also the geographical appearance, of the country. So it's something you'll be marveled at, and I believe you should visit the country. If you want to visit, well, I'm always available to assist in taking you around.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Исиака. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. See you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye. Take care.